Hello guys, Feriano, and if this is your first time here, welcome. I'm gonna be talking about starting today. I'm gonna start a funding series. It's gonna be a funding documenting series of some sort. Really, what I would like to do is talk about my journey with trading and kind of share some of the ups and downs that I have faced in this journey. I'm going to talk about the capital that I have currently under management, as the title of the video and probably the thumbnail suggests. I have about 1.8 million right now under management and still counting. I think probably sitting right now around 1.6 or 1.7, give or take. I probably still have one more account with Topstep, but I'm currently down on one of those accounts. But total is just over 1.6 million essentially. And I have received in January thus far 15,000 plus in payout, and I have about probably another 6,000 on the way before the end of the month. I just have to meet some of the requirements from the firm to be able to access that money. How I would like to structure this video is talk about my journey, where I kind of started with trading, so you guys kind of have a little bit of an idea of who I am as you see where I'm at right now, because it will be really hard to understand where I'm going without understanding where I came from. So I felt it was important for me to kind of talk about like my past and then some of the things that I have gone through. If you guys cannot tell by now, I'm essentially African. I'm originally from Cameroon. Grew up in Africa most of my life. I'm half French, half Cameroonian. My dad is French, my mom's Cameroonian. I came here about 13, 14 years ago with my siblings. I used to live in DC. I moved around. I lived in Texas, I lived in Miami, and now I live in LA. One of the thing when that really got me started into trading, which was essentially when I was already in LA, I've been in LA now for about 4 years, was via one of my friend. He introduced me to a business opportunity, some sort of hedge fund. And at the time I had really made some of myself, right? I had built a huge amount of saving. I had essentially multiple six figures saved up, about two to $300,000 saved up, between about 280, 270, some around $300,000 saved up. And I put most of that money into that hedge fund. And for most of last year, not last year, the year before that, 2022, February, January, that's when I put it in. And for the first like 7 months, it was amazing. It was paying me, but one thing I didn't realize, it was an offshore brokerage. It was run by an offshore brokerage that was not regulated by any sort of like U.S. regulated government bodies or anything. That's what like the FCC or the SEC or some sort of the that protects your money essentially, like banks or any major institution in America. And it was a really tough lesson for me to learn, because most of that money, essentially all that money, was gone, right? And mind you, I had helped some of my family members and some of my personal friend, invest into that opportunity. So it was tough. It was tough because losing all that money after building myself up to some point in my life, where I felt like I have gone to a really good place in life, right? A lot of people looked up to me, and it felt like rebuilding myself from zero. It's like starting from scratch. And I'm typically someone who was strong, but I'm not gonna lie to you, end of 2022, beginning of 2023, I think more like beginning of 2023, I almost thought about, the S word, the forbidden word that you cannot say online. I thought about it a few times. I had to really dig deep, essentially, to rebuild myself and stay focused. And I'm also glad that I had a really good entourage here in LA, because I have two other close friends of mine that really helped me through this journey. So beginning of 2023, that was the bad part about an investment. The good part about that hedge fund was that it taught me about trading. One thing I noticed was that, okay, the person who was running that fund, I guess, was scamming people, or was just like, it's like a Ponzi scheme maybe of some sort. But I was thinking in my head, there has to be people out there that are good at trading, that are able to make money from this, and they don't have any sort of dependency on what's going on in the economy or a boss or anything else. So if you're able to master this skill set, this is probably going to be one of the most valuable skill set that you can master into this day and age. So I decided to venture to really master this thing. So with that, I decided to start learning how to trade back in 2022. This was like end of 2022, heading into 2023. I had ups and downs. I first was dabbling with support and resistance, trend line, support and resistance, strategy for the most part, and just really trading the trend. Really basic. I had a lot of beginner's luck, where I decided to go with a lot of funding firm And my whole mindset was out of whack because what I was trying to do so hard was trying to rebuild what I just lost, right? And I was operating from a scarcity mindset. And every single time that I thought that I was building some type of momentum, because I was trying to rush that process, I can end up going back to where I started essentially. And it took me a long time throughout the beginning of last year to really understand that I needed to be patient with myself. I needed to be patient building this foundation of that can allow me to not get back, right? Not get back to where I was, but go beyond that, right? And never have to depend on anything else but myself. That's what caused me to continuously fail and restart. Building some momentum, fail and restart. I sold my car, took most of that money and then invested into prop firm. I mean, looking back, this is some of the crazy dumb decisions that I made, but I had to go through that, and I don't regret any of those decisions because I learned from those decisions. I remember when I sold my car, I got the money from it. I invested into a bunch of prop firm, and I got to the point where I almost made the money. I kid you not, I almost made the money that I sold my car. And I was gonna be at, I think, just above break even because I got funded with Smart Prop Trader. I got funded with Rocket 21. This was like back in April last year. I got funded with those two, and then on Smart Prop Trader, I think I was waiting on 30,000 almost in payout. And on Rocket 21, I was waiting on about 15,000. Guess what? I blew both of those payouts. I blew the heck out of those two payouts. So when you hear statistics about people getting funded but never getting to pay out, those are extremely true because people that are trading, even if they get to the point where they get to pay out, the people that are really consistent are the ones that are just consistently getting smaller and very conservative payout, right? 2 to 5%, 2 to 5%. People that are hitting that like out of the park, left and right, are really the people that are getting money from those prop firms. People that are trying to shoot for the moon, right? How many times can you repeat a feat of jumping to the moon? I mean, you may make it the first time, but how many times can you do that? It's very tough. Also, I want to bring another story. One of the person that I look up to heavily, which is my mom. We didn't always have the best of the relationship, but one thing that I really truly appreciate about her was this. It was the fact that I learned how to build my foundation looking at her story. You see, we grew up in an apartment where I have two. At the time, I had two younger brothers. Now I have a little sister. When she got into a newer relationship, my little sister came out of that relationship in my stepdad. Now I have three younger siblings. I'm the oldest in my family, by the way. But my two younger siblings, right? And now I used to live in this two-bedroom apartment. My mom had her room, and me and my other two brother, we used to stay on bunk bed, right? I had the bottom of the bunk. I think I had the bottom bunk bed, and my other brother had the top. Sometimes I think my other one would sleep with me on the same bed. And this was when I was in middle school, high school, heading out into college. I left. That's why I left when I was 19 to really figure myself out and trying to become a man and build something on myself. Back then, I remember we used to struggle a lot because my mom was on we were on Obamacare and a lot of like government assistance stuff, benefit. And my mom, I remember she worked really hard before we came in America and saved up a little bit of money, which allowed her to open her own hair salon, right? But tip this, her own hair salon was about $2,000, give or take, was actually her hair salon, right? How much like the expenses, because this was in DC. So it was like an 800, maybe 700 square foot place, and it was about $800, right, for the space. And $800 for the space. The apartment that we used to stay in was about $1,500. The electricity and everything else separate, right, in DC, the place where she was renting, probably another $500. So every single month she had to pay about $4,000. This is not accounting for like food sometimes, or clothes and other things that are just miscellaneous, right? Things that just happen out of the blue. When she started building her hair salon business, she was by herself. She had barely any clientele. So what would she do? We will help her sometimes pass flyer. But one thing I noticed about her was that she was very frugal for the first 2 to 3 years. Extremely frugal because she had a little bit of money that she saved up, and then she also had a little bit of clientele that she got from like just doing things individually and like as a freelancer. But for the very first 2 years, I'm not gonna lie to you, she was breaking even. She was not making enough money to take care of all those bills, and then was barely able to save. By the third or fourth year, that's really when she started making a little bit good money, like maybe 50 to 60,000 a year. By the 6th or 7th year, that's really when she hit about $90,000 a year. She's about 12 to 13 years. She's about 11 years now into the business, and I think now she just crossed 6 figure about maybe 150,000 a year. But I say this to say that the focus that she had in the very first 2 to 3 years was to simply accomplish such a great service with every single client that they just want to come back. When you lock hair, when you do hair, you typically have to lock it. A lot of the hair salon would not do it properly. My mom would make sure that everything is locked so well that the hair of most of her clientele will last months beyond that of like a typical service that they will get in other places. And that's how my mom built her clientele. One client at a time, one great customer service at a time, one great service at a time. And after 2 to 3 years, she had a loyal customer base. My mom couldn't move her salon, and actually she moved her salon to a different place, a bigger location, because now she has her stylist. Those people will follow her to the day she died. And I realized that what my mom did and what I literally witnessed was she built her foundation. She didn't focus on, let me try to make 6 figures, let me try to make 300,000. She focused on simply building the foundation. And by doing that, she allowed herself the chance to grow. See, what I was doing throughout last year was rushing that process. And that's why I kept going back and forth in this whole process of trying to grow. After losing that money, that's when I had that epiphany that I cannot keep doing the same thing, because I literally blew about 40,000 in payout from those Forex prop firms. So what was next after that? I decided to take a break from trading. At the time, a month before blowing up that money, my close friend Dakota, or I call him K, actually introduced me to ICT, but I was not open-minded to it because I had gotten funded and I was in the process of getting a payout. So at the time I was like, why should I listen to you? I'm about to get a payout, right? What I'm doing is working, and I was only doing supply and demand and trend line resistance, support and resistance essentially, which was very, very inferior to what I'm currently doing right now. So when that happened, the timing was right. It allowed me to be open-minded to ICT, and from that point on, I delved into that. And when I started learning ICT, I was simply trading on a 1 minute. That's how I was practicing in the beginning, and looking for volatility equal high, liquidity being grabbed, and then trading the reversal around macros. And literally, I just mastered just trading on the 1 minute. That's how I got started with ICT. And from that point on, I reverse engineered to start looking at a higher time frame to add more context to what was happening onto the 1 minute around those macro. And to be honest, I wouldn't change my whole process on learning ICT, because I started learning how to execute with no context. Literally, that's what I started doing. Learning how to actually get to engage in the market. Actually, the way that ICT typically teach you in terms of the scalping strategy, but with no context. That's what I was missing the whole time. So I've seen some level of success, but never really some level of consistency that allowed me to really have some breakthrough. And a few times I have gotten funded, but I couldn't really get to the payout stage. So once again, I hit a brick wall, and I took a pause on trading again in August, September. During that pause, I decided to sign up for Twitter, and I decided to, I'm going to find other community maybe of trader that I can tap into. Looking back, that was the most amazing, best decision I ever made, because by doing so, I was able to meet amazing individuals such as Joji, or Powerful Joe G on that's his handle on Twitter, Alfred Kashindi, Juicy Trade. Those are some of the people, and Jenna. Those are some of the people that are part of my clique on Twitter. Some small group that I eventually came across that allowed me to really master some of the concepts that really helped me become consistent. I would say the market maker framework, mastering SMT, understanding the power of 3 on the weekly, monthly, on a higher time frame, and then combining it with my execution on the lower time frame. When I started really mastering those concepts, that's when my understanding and my execution just took off. So from December to the beginning of January, I acquired 300,000 with TopStep, right? So after acquiring that 300,000 with TopStep, beginning of January, with those 300,000, I did about 20,000 that I combined so 10K on each account, and I withdrew 5,000 across both accounts, right? Each account. So I was able to withdraw my first payout, $10,000, finally, in payout. So what did I do with that $10,000? Most people would take that money and say, all right, let me go ahead and put it in my savings, do something fun. I say, no, I need to build a foundation for myself. I am not there yet. So what did I decide to do? I took that money and I reinvested it into getting Apex account, right? Apex is another futures firm. And then I got about 12 to 13 account. 10 of those accounts actually passed, but I reset maybe once or twice on some of those accounts, but I passed about 10 of those within the last 2 weeks, right? And Apex also had some promotion for like a 1 day to pass their evaluation. So I took advantage of that as well. And I was able to pass about 10 accounts and add about a $1.5 million on top of my $300,000 top step. Now, on one of my top step, I'm already up another $8,000 this week. As I'm recording this earlier, I took some trade. I'm up about $8,000 on that account. So when I withdrew my last paycheck, my last check from Top Step was actually last week. I withdrew another $5,000. So for this month, I'm already withdrew about $15,000 from Top Step. And after withdrawing that, my account went back to $5,000, right? I always leave my account around $5,000, $4,000, 500. And then from that point on, I trade up. So after leaving it there, after my last payout, just a few hours ago, actually, I just did another 8,000 on top. So my account is currently sitting at $13,000 in profit. So I just have to meet the 4 order day of profitability, because typically on Top Step, for you to withdraw it, you need 4 days of profitability of at least $200 for them to allow you to withdraw. So I just need to meet 4 more days. One of my other account, one of the other 150k account actually went down because I let a trade open by mistake on that account. So it took a major loss. So I probably would need to let that account go because it's so far down that I probably just need to get a new account. So I got another evaluation. I'm just going to work on passing and trying to max allocate with Top Step. However, I still have about 10 funded account with Apex, the session that I have at this point. So in total, I have about $1.6 million, $1.8 million if you count that account, because it's not blown yet. It's just very low in terms of balance due to that mistake that I made leaving a position. It was a pending order that I left open on our account without paying attention. And on that account, I was up about $10,000. So it just brought the account back down essentially, because it was on a day when I did extremely well. I did about 6,000, but the pending order essentially took off most of the balance on that account. So I'm debating whether to keep that or just go ahead and just get a new evaluation and then just start fresh with that account. But with that said, that's essentially all. That's my story from begin to end. I'm going to show you guys some of the account that I'm currently managing. And next, after showing you guys the account that I'm managing, I want to talk about my plan as far as how to manage those accounts and what is that I'm looking to do future-wise. What is that I'm essentially planning on doing. I'm going to try to do some video where I show some of my execution, so you guys can also see the process of me executing some of those trades. But this is like the introduction of my documentation series. So I'm going to try to make one of these every week, or at least every other week if possible, and then simply just release it. It's always going to be a little bit long, so just bear with me, and I hope that you guys enjoy the content. If you guys have questions in regards to like my strategy or anything like that, or want me to make a video in regards to that, please let me know. I'll be happy to ask. FYI, I will never sell a course. I may provide maybe a subscription in the future for like a community that I would like to build or something of that sort. I'm just being transparent. But me personally, I would just never sell a course. If you guys, my Twitter handle is Veriano Trades. If you hit me up on there, I'll answer any question that you guys need. I'll point you in the right direction. I'll point you in the right place or anything like that. For me, I just want to be the person that I wish I had when I had no sense of direction, no sense of like self, when I didn't know exactly where to go. So I believe all that information, ICT provided information, is just how to utilize it that matters. So I may point you in the direction, and the person that you may listen to may help you at least have that perspective that can help you unlock something that you have missing, because it's a journey. You have to go on to that journey until you elevate your level of understanding about something. You can never break past certain ceiling, and the degree of your intent of wanting to master something determines your level of understanding as well. So with that said, I'll go ahead and show you guys. I'll move on to the computer and I'll show you guys exactly some of those accounts, how does it look like, and then next I'm going to talk about how I'm planning on managing those accounts. I'll see you guys in a second. All right, I hope you guys can hear me amazingly well here. So this is one of my Top Step account, as I shared earlier. So this is essentially what I have been doing on this account. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a little bit of what this account has looked like since I started managing it. So as you guys can see right here, on January 2nd was the first day that I started managing this account. Let me see, I think it actually goes a little bit further. There we go. December 28th, like I was mentioning in the introduction earlier, was the very first time that I started managing this account essentially. My first I did about $917. December 29th did about $3,200, and I took a lot of trade. I was still figuring out how to manage my trade properly, and I was trading all day long. I was trading like London and New York. So it shows a lot of trade because I will enter trade and then I'll invalidate. Once it gets invalidated, I'll essentially like close it and take the opposite direction, because some of my trade I'll find I was trying to identify where price is going for that specific macro or specific window that I'm trading. So that's where you will see a lot of trades. It's like on one macro I'll probably take like easily 6-7 trade, or like a lot, and then I'll trade all day long as well. So since then I've refined my system and I try to really be paying attention to these, right? Because the less of the trade, the better for me. But days where I can kind of tell, okay, where price is going, I'll really be on it, like probably the entire London session, New York session, and so on and so forth. So if you guys see heavy amount of trade, just keep in mind that's probably one of the main reasons why. On other days as well, I'll try to really keep it under the wrap, especially when I already met my goal. I'll really try to just hit the $200 a day, $200 a day. I think this was one of my very first negative days. So yeah, so $900, $3,000 here, $6,200, $200 here, $200 negative. And I think after this one, I was able to withdraw 1, 2, 3, 4, actually see 5, actually right here. See, from here all the way here, once I had those 5 profitable days, I was actually eligible to withdraw. So I withdrew my first $5,000 here and I left 5,000 in my account. So next up was this next payout. I had a negative day right here, positive, 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 positive. This was a very, very big day. I think I had done relatively bad this day. This is just a day that I just tilt, I think personally, because one of the things for me, I try to make sure that no matter what, I don't let any day go below $1,000. So this was a very, very, very bad day for me. I tilted heavily. But next day I came back and made some of that loss back. My goal is not to make the loss back, it's simply to follow my plan and follow my execution. So that allowed me to just stay focused, and I was able to recover that essentially, just focusing on execution. So with that profit here, that allowed me to make my next withdrawal of $5,000. So this is some information on my profit factor. I sometimes place stop loss, but I sometimes exit manually. But I have to build better discipline on placing those stop loss like on times, because sometimes I'll place a little bit late because I'm so focused on like the take profit. I'm getting better and better at doing those things and having more discipline on those aspects of my trading. But ultimately, because my strike rate, this does not really show like my really, really high strike rate. My strike rate is pretty high on terms of the opportunity, and always making sure that I can adapt to the situation. It wouldn't really show in this factor here, I would say. But the biggest thing is that my average winning trade is bigger than my average losing trade. As long as that's the case, and I don't really worry about it. My equity curve looks perfectly fine as of now. I think the only thing that really hurt me was right here. On this day that I kind of tilt my loss, I try to really make sure it does not cross over 1,000. Usually, to be honest, $800. So this was a day that I tilt, and this is the reason why it's important to have multiple accounts, because I think the more account that I have, the more I don't feel the need to try to make anything back if I go down beyond $1,000. So that's something that was a very, very good lesson, to really focusing on abundance mindset. So I was able to recover from that, obviously, and this is one of my account that I have right now. So currently, I'm actually up. I'm gonna go into my TraderVid account. On this account specifically, I'm actually up. So as you guys can see right here is 208,289,387. I'm gonna go ahead and pause this and show you guys my live account, what it looks like right now. Okay, perfect. So as you guys can see right here, this is the account, and today currently I'm sitting around $13,200, give or take. So this is currently the account that I was showing you guys. As you guys can see, the account number is the same essentially. So this is my main account with Top Step. I have another account, like I said, it's currently down. I don't think I'm going to keep managing that. I'm just going to focus on a new account, and I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the other accounts as well. All right, perfect. So this is Apex right here. So with Apex, these are all my account here that I have passed. I have not activated all the account essentially. So we're gonna go ahead and count together. So this is the first account. See, it's at $9,000. It already passed. I just have not activated all these accounts. This is the second account right here. It's also 9,000. Third account, 9,000, fourth account 9,000, fifth account 9,000, sixth account past 9,000 as well, eighth right here 9,000, seventh equity. Oh, this is a performance account. This is my live account. I already activated this account. See, when you see PAA, that means performance accounts, right? So this is performance account Apex, the very first that I already activated. Performance account number 2 right here is PA9, second account that I have activated, and this is the third account right here that I've also activated. So all of these, I'm going to be trading these this current week. So I am going to be focusing on this over the next few days or this week entirely. My plan is essentially this account, the seventh one here. I'm going to trade copy and risk a little bit more on this one. This is going to be like my aggressive account growth essentially. So whatever I do on the other account, I'm going to double whatever I do on this one. So I'm able to afford this because I have a lot of account funded. So I'm able to kind of manage it. So my goal is going to be simple. Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit next about how I'm going to manage this account. So my goal is going to be very simple, is that I'm going to manage about 2 accounts a week from Apex, and then another on another firm, I may manage maybe 1 more account. So it's always going to be about 2 to 3 accounts every week that I manage, no more than that. And by doing that, it allows me to really have abundance mindset, because I know even if I have a bad week and I do something that I'm not supposed to be doing, I am not going to be impacting my entire portfolio. All right, I hope that makes sense. So that's going to be my focus. And my goal on every payout is to simply hit 1% to 2% above the buffer, right? If I do more than that, great. After that, I'm just focusing on hitting the daily payout, or whatever that requirement is for that firm to request my money out of the firm. So with Apex, you have to do 1 trading day consistently. And I think with Top Step, you do have to do, with Top Step, I believe you have to do 5 profitable days of about $200 per day, if I'm not mistaken. So this is the introduction to the funding series. Every week, I'm going to try to make sure that I compile the live execution of all the account from now on, and I'll add it into the documentation series for my funding process. And as well as I know when I make the next video. So this video was mainly the introduction, talk a little bit about me, and just introduce you guys to my account, what I'm going to be managing, and essentially how I got those accounts as well, and essentially kind of like the backstory of those. And then from this point on, I'll share some of the execution and how I'm managing, and the account that I still keep, new account that I gain, and the ups and downs essentially, guys. So with that said, that's all. I really want to try to do this once to twice, maybe once every week, or maybe once every 2 weeks, just because trading in itself is already can be really consuming. So I'll try to make sure that I do it in a sense where it does not take away from my time, and I'm still able to just document my journey. Essentially, with that said, that's really all I have. I guess I'll see you guys in the next series.